Welcome to the International Money Cafe podcast, the show where we filter out the noise on cross-border taxes, finances, and life in the US. I'm your host, Jen Neefam, certified financial planner, founder and owner of Algon Financial Advisors.
And I'm your host, Manasa Nadig, enrolled agent, owner and founder of MN Tax and Business Services. Join us on this journey as we explore the unique challenges faced by inbound, outbound families and businesses on taxes, compliance, and financial planning. Let's get to the show.
This episode's where in 10 minutes or less, Manasa and I will take a term used in the cross-border space, so tax, financial terminology, and sort of give it to you in common English. Today's terminology or term is Situs, S-I-T-U-S. This is really key in the cross-border context. So Manasa, what is Situs and why do we care is what we want to talk about. Take it away.
Yes, thank you, Jane. Situs is the location of a property for legal purposes. And it depends on the type of item. So for most physical items, the situs is the place where the object is located presently. And, it is important for legal tax and estate planning because the type of the item determines the treatment of it for legal purposes. Say, for example, let's go into this. If it is a tangible, movable item, like let's say artwork or jewelry, or is it a tangible, immovable item, like maybe real estate in the US? Or what if it is an intangible item, like stocks or shares of life insurance policies and such? So knowing what the situs is then becomes an important point to consider.
Right. And so just to kind of go into a little bit on that, let's say, for example, because we deal with some of these all the time, if you have an insurance policy, the situs for that policy is where the application is signed and the policy delivered, which means the laws of that state will apply. If you think of, let's say, another example is, let's say like an irrevocable trust, where this is created and signed, and by this I mean the country and the state is really what laws will apply. There is a big difference between domicile and situs. And we actually talked a lot about domicile in episode 8, and we're going to put a link to this. And so the question still comes back to, and this is the part that we want to answer, in the cross-border context, why do we care about situs? Why do we care about where assets are located?
Oh, definitely. And that's something that keeps coming up, because right now, in a cross-border context, if you look at the estate exemption for US citizens on their worldwide assets, it's at around $13.61 million in 2024. This may change soon. But here we're just looking at the difference between what the US citizens have as an exemption amount and what a non-US citizen has as an exemption amount, which is just around $60,000. So if you are a US citizen, excluding about $13.61 million on your worldwide assets may or may not be that big a deal. But if you are a non-US citizen and you have assets which are located in the US and you have a lower US gift or estate tax exclusion, then it becomes an important thing for you to remember to plan for the future. So that's one of the reasons why you should care to know what the situs of your asset is.
Yeah, talking about that, one of the things that I've seen which really makes this practical is if you're a foreign national on a non-immigrant work visa, and Manasa and I work with a lot of people in this situation, you really do need to take this into consideration. And especially if you have minor children. if you have any assets, let's say, and something happens to you, guess what? This is the number that will be applying to your estate. So obviously, you need to take into consideration what assets you have. You need to take into consideration your minor children, your family, and how you want to leave them and what assets you want to leave them with. So it's key that you understand where your assets are located, hence the situs of your assets. And I think we've addressed it in 10 minutes or less. I'll pass it back to you, Manasa, to conclude.
Thank you, Jane. Yes. So if you, dear listener, like listening to our Shortie episodes, and of course, our long episodes as well, hit follow on any major podcast platform you like and listen to our episodes, and please share that with your friends and family. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the International Money Cafe podcast. The content is for informational and educational purposes only and should not be used as a substitute for professional advice. Seek the advice of your qualified service provider with any questions you may have regarding your cross-border finances and tax needs.